It's Friday Feeders on the Rural Radio Network. I'm Clay Patton, and I know it's not actually Friday, but just before we kick off for the Thanksgiving holiday, we still want to make sure we bring you some of the greatest stories from agriculture as well. Going to meet the people and the places that are leading the industry. My Friday Feeder this week, we talk with Quentin Dailey. He's a rancher in central Nebraska as well, one that has stepped up to the leadership roles here in recent years. So, Quentin, thanks so much for being a part of this program today and joining us. I think the best place for us to get started first is let's catch up with the Nebraska Cattlemen. I know here in just a couple weeks it is going to be time for the annual meeting, the annual conference and convention. Tell us more about what and when and where on that.
Exciting time. It always is for Nebraska Cattlemen this time of year when we all get to come together for our annual convention in Kearney. Those dates are going to kick off Wednesday, December 6th and go through Friday morning, December 8th. It's going to be there in Kearney at the Eunice Conference Center where it's usually held. We're going to kick off Wednesday with council meetings. Thursday is going to be full of committee meetings, followed up Thursday evening with a banquet, and then live band and reception afterwards, just to kind of celebrate the accomplishments that we've had in the past year as an industry and as an organization. And I really encourage folks to consider trying to take the time to come down, whether it's just for a day, a half a day, or whatever, and join in on a meeting. It's a great way to meet people in your industry, a great way for you to get involved and understand what we're doing for the industry and our members and producers. And that invitation's open to members and non-members alike. Just to come down if you got questions or curious, come on down. There's going to be a trade show as well throughout the whole thing with several different vendors and a lot of our allied sponsors. So if you got the time, I encourage you to come down. That's going to be December 6th through the 8th there in Kearney.
There's going to be a lot of great things happening. And Quentin, kind of what helped get you into leadership in the cattleman side of it was being a member of YCC, or the Young Cattlemen's Connections, Young Cattlemen's Leadership Group as well. Harkening back to your experience there, coming into the end of the year, what's happening with YCC?
So, yeah, I would attribute coming into leadership roles through YCC. When I got involved in that program, it kind of led into the leadership roles where I am today. But anyhow, right now it's kind of quiet for the YCC groups. However, they did just announce either yesterday or the day before the upcoming class, the new class of 10 that's going to kick off in January. The previous YCC classes will be at convention. They'll get recognized, the class that's finishing up right now. But then in January is kind of the big kickoff for the YCC classes. They'll meet 1 week. The first class will meet and just do kind of industry type stuff. And the second class, or the second year class, will meet, and they're going to be doing more of the legislative type stuff and policy stuff and things like that. So it's a really neat way to get in with the organization and truly understand the inner workings and behind the scenes things. So I'd attribute a lot of that to me being part of that YCC class, and I encourage any folks in the future to consider that.
Through your process of being in the YCC, what would you say were some big aha moments or some points where you felt like you really had some growth, whether it be, points that you were able to apply back on the ranch or things that you were just able to do as a cattleman through YCC?
I would say the biggest thing that it helped me do, Clay, was networking. You kind of get stuck here on the ranch, back at your own operation, and that forced a person to get out, and you get to meet a lot of different people, find out different ways of how things are done. So that's a huge thing, and just being a part of the organization, you meet those tremendous people from across the state, and you can learn from them, bounce ideas off of them. But I would say probably the most aha for me was probably the legislative side, legislative and policy side. I had no idea about any of that prior, and that was probably the most eye-opening experience through it all that I have had, and have really found a greater appreciation for what the organization is doing for us on the policy and legislative side. That's a lot of the stuff that we don't see day to day. That's a lot of behind-the-scenes things that we don't get to see, and that's them working for us so we can continue to be out here and producing the high-quality products and tending to the cattle on a day-to-day basis.
Exactly. And speaking of those cattle, let's go to the ranch. Do you have cows on stalks? How are things for Dailey Ranches?
Oh, Clay, everything is really good right now. All the cows are out to stalks. Luckily, the weather is staying very nice. We got a tremendous amount of good forage out there right now. We've got all the fence built. So we're just kind of relaxing. Well, not really relaxing, but preparing for calving, which will be coming up. But things are really well. I think most people in our area have got their cows out to stalks and are sitting pretty good right now. Of course, everybody's pretty happy because prices are good, especially for the cow-calf guys. So not a lot of doom and gloom out here in the country, and everybody's singing a pretty high note right now.
Well, that is great to hear. And as you said, there really isn't ever a time where you truly let your guard down on the ranch. But if there was a time now, it's when you can take a step back. So hopefully everybody gets to enjoy a great Thanksgiving with that as well. Let's circle back around and kind of round out our conversation where we started it. You were serving on the State Cattlemen's Board, but your term is quickly coming to an end. What were you say were some big highlights from your time on the state level of the association and some of the things that you were able to do?
I'd say some of the highlights, Clay, that I've been able to be a part of, not only attending some of the national conventions in the winter and then summer business meetings. Those were some highlights for me, getting the opportunity to do that. Another fun opportunity was being on the search committee for the new hire of our executive vice president. That was a lot of fun, met a lot of nice folks out there doing that, and that was just a neat experience. One fun experience I had was actually getting to go out to Washington, D.C. and speak with our delegation out there on behalf of our members about their thoughts and concerns on certain things. And that was a really fun experience, just getting to actually represent and take our members' concerns further. But a lot of fun experiences that I've been able and been offered while serving on this board. I hate to have to term out, but it's the way it goes. And I can only hope that maybe in the future they ask me back or there's future plans. But it's been an honor. It's been really fun. Like I said, when I first got involved, I really didn't know a whole lot, and it's just opened my eyes to this organization and what they truly do for our members. It's been a lot of fun, Clay.
That is great to hear, and glad that it's been a great experience for you as well. Well, Quentin, thanks so much for being our guest on Friday Feeders this week. Before I let you go, though, final closing thoughts, important information I've overlooked in the course of our conversation.
Yeah, I'd just like to reiterate our upcoming convention, Clay, on December 6th through the 8th there in Kearney. I encourage anybody to come on out, invite anybody to come out and join us for a day or whatever you can. But most importantly, I encourage anybody to get involved, be engaged in our industry.
And again, is Quentin Dailey joining us here for Friday Feeders, brought to you by FNBO, the Great Big Small Bank, and you're listening to the Rural Radio Network.